Hey everyone, and welcome back to Crystalline. I feel like it's been a long time since I last recorded, but it's really only been just a week. In the last episode, things got to a point where they were too hot to handle. Oh God, talk about fan service. But we also met Giggling, who I don't trust. He has a character sprite. I don't like that. That scares me. I feel we found the villain of the story. But we are going now to the water temple, so let's get on with it. The next morning, we meet Giggling bright and early downstairs of the inn. He leads us towards the city exit, and soon we return to familiar roads. Our paths take us along the beach for a short while. The white sands glitter beneath the sunlight and filter annoyingly into our shoes. Eventually, we return to flat dirt roads and travel into the late into the dusk. When the sun is finally creeping below the horizon, we stop a bit off the main path into the grove of trees to make camp. After the fire is lit, the savory perfume of dinner makes my stomach growl. While we all gather together as we serve out the food. Kara sits close to Zach during the dinner. Her arm brushes against his when she takes a bite of food. I catch Zach glancing over at her every once in a while before quickly looking away. Liana scoots closer to Giggling.
So, Gingalan, can you tell us some more stories?
He chuckles.
Oh, I don't know.
Liana squirms.
Please?
She moves even closer. Her eyes glitter with a kind of excitement I usually associate with small children.
We'd love to hear one.
Amelia takes a tiny bite and then nods.
Perhaps one which is not as widely known.
Liana beams at Giggling.
Well, if that's what you wish, how can I refuse?
There's a heavy pause. After a moment, Giggling takes a deep breath.
I loved a Shadowcaster.
His voice was low and sad.
I loved how her giggles shimmered with silver. I loved her moonlit hair, her star-flecked fingers. Together we wished, we teased, we played. She covered me in twilight, in soft murmurs and rain. I'll show you, my sweetling, she whispered, she soothed. My friends and their shadow magic are just misunderstood.
I'm convinced he's the villain.
But, little by little, her mind turned to dark flowers and violent meteor showers. Shadows poured from her mouth. She spat, she swore, she roared, splattering me with ink, with oil and ore. The night was too strong, too much underneath her skin. It flared from her fingers, her shoulders, her rings. She tore apart our friendship, our home, our dreams.
Apple cider.
Surely, her friends, dishonest and cruel, surely she had me fooled.
Giggling pauses for a moment. I'm not sure if he's going to continue.
I joined them and discovered too late the mistake I had made. They had been wrong, not her. She was trying to save them, to keep their magic pure. But the shadows, they whispered, they crawled and lingered. She fell into my arms, light as mist. The power wreathed about her neck, her chest, her wrists. As she sobbed, she whimpered, please, take me with you. We'll cuddle in our garden of auroras. We'll build a house of starlight, of everything lovely and bright. But there was nothing I could do. She faded into twilight, into smoke and wind. I'm left with nothing but the memory of her left on my skin.
I don't trust him still. There's a thick silence, the weight of his story still hanging in the air. The moonlight casts over Giggleing's silver hair and beard, bringing out his dark shadows across his face. The fire crackles and pops. Finally, Giggling bows his head.
Thank you for listening to my tale.
Liana's eyes shimmer with tears.
That was so beautiful.
Giggling smiles, but doesn't quite reach his eyes.
Thank you.
But it was also so sad.
I don't want to be a dick. My heart caves into my chest. Wow, that's such a horrible thing to have to go through. I tried to imagine watching someone I love slowly disintegrate into madness. I couldn't have been easy. And then not having the power to be able to help or stop it. My heart goes out to whoever that was. It was beautifully written. Igalena looks up at me. His smile is small and sad, and I think I see his gratitude in his eyes. Does the story have to do with him? He nods.
Thank you.
Soon after we finish eating, Igalena leaves to refill his canteen with water from a nearby stream. Liana and Amelia go out into the field, but I'm not too certain what they're doing. Zack and Kara clean up and seem content to do so without my help.
Oh, that looks fun.
I look up. Igalena standing there retying his canteen to his belt. What does? He nods towards Liana and Amelia. I follow my gaze to see them practicing magic out in the field. Amelia waves her hand and sends a small flurry of ice across the grass. The Pongo grims, hopping up and down with excitement.
Boy, boy!
He bounces after it, making Liana giggle. Her manipulator pulses blue and a small gust of wind breathes out from underneath him. It makes him hover above the ground.
It's okay. I got you.
Liana's breeze glides him long above the grass, steady and strong. The Pongo's eyes light up. Liana beams. She continues to push the Pongo along, gathering speed and momentum. She makes him soar across the grass, and he lets out a little squeak of delight. Amelia spirals more and more ice and snow, her magic trailing behind the Pongo and glittering like a trail of shooting stars. Igalena sits down beside me.
When I first met you, I felt like I could sense some magic within you, too.
I mean, I have a manipulator, so that would make sense. Igalena studies me. His eyes seem to stare deep within me, as if trying to unmask my secrets. I shift underneath his gaze. Does he already know about me? No, I'm just being paranoid. Shaking the thought out of my head, I smile at Igalena, who returns my grin. His eyes crinkle warmly in his smile, as he smiles.
Presently, I'm curious to know more about you. Perhaps I could dedicate a whole verse about you and your adventures.
A verse? About me? He nods again, his smile bright and excited.
Where is it you hail from?
Saria?
Yes, but where in Asaria?
Somewhere far away, small place, you wouldn't know it.
Try me. I am fairly well traveled.
I rack my brain for the name of a city or a place, any name. From New York. Yo, fuck it, yeah, Game of Thrones, represent. This place up north, very snowy. My dad, Fred Stark, raised me there.
What is it called?
Winterfall.
How odd. I haven't heard of it.
He fixes me with the same stare, and once again I feel the anxiety rise within me. Does he know I'm lying? Igalene's smile falters, but he doesn't press me.
Did you leave to study at the Mage Academy?
No. Tell the truth. Well, kinda. Not exactly. Liana taught me everything I know.
Oh, are you training to be a mage knight as well?
Kind of. She's been training me in both casting technique and sword fighting. He nods.
I see. And how long have you been training with her?
How long have I been in Terra? Feels like years, but I could have been more than a few months. For a little bit, I guess.
Well, you must have a very high aptitude for magic indeed.
My heart stops. I haven't casted it in front of him before. How does he know? What makes you say that?
Well, it takes a very skilled mage to be able to train into a mage knight.
I laugh nervously. Oh, right, yeah, of course.
Hey, what are you guys up to?
I look up to see Liana standing behind me. She grins with her hands on her hips, bits of her hair sparkling from Amelia's ice magic. Just chatting. She shoots out to a stand and probably a little too fast, but I'm eager to get out of this conversation as quickly as possible. I'm feeling a bit tired, so I'm going to turn in early. Igalena inclines his head.
Thanks for humoring this old bard.
De nada. I nod and shuffle over to the bedrolls. I see Liana take my newly vacant seat. Pongo bounces over to me, shimmering from his magic. Did you have a good time? I like Pongo. He jumps up and down, mimicking flying. I saw that, you did fly. He jiggles happily and nestles in beside me. It isn't too long before I hear the others start to wind down for the night. I guess I really was more tired than I thought, because as soon as I fall asleep, the warm glow fall asleep to the warm glow of the fire. Da 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 da. Someone is shaking me. I groan and blink awake. Everything is still looks fuzzy. It's still dark out. What time is it? Blurry shape hovers over my face. This better be Leanna waking my ass up. I'm shaking again, harder this time. What? I groan and blink again, squinting. It takes a few times for my eyes to adjust. Amy?
Yes. Good evening.
She doesn't move. Her face is blank but expectant. What's up?
I wish to be with you in private.
This is the first time Amy has sought me out. Something must be really on her mind. Are you alright?
Yes. There is a matter I wish to discuss with you.
Okay, give me a second. I slip out of my bedroll and stand beside her.
Please, come this way.
She turns on her heel with a twirl of her cloak and leads me off to the side, far away from the camp and the rest of the group. So what is it?
I have been pondering the possibility for you casting without the use of a manipulator.
Oh.
I believe it may be because you've absorbed magic from the elementals directly. That reservoir of magic has been within you since the Fire Temple, and it merely has been a matter of unlocking your potential to cast from within to utilize the energy. The harrowing situation on the beach proved it to be possible for you to channel from within. After having ample time to think, I believe it will be simple for you to pull that energy again. If this is the case, then perhaps you are able to cast more than one element.
My eyebrows knit together. More than one. She nods.
Thus far, you have only manipulated wind energy. That would lead me to the conclusion that despite the energy you absorbed, you were only using wind energy. If my theory is correct, I believe you may have untapped magic gathered inside of you, those of the other elements. It is only a matter of bringing that magic to the surface. Have you attempted to use another element before?
I shake my head. No, Liana's just been teaching me wind magic.
I see. Then allow me to show you how to use fire magic.
Yeah, fireball! What, like right now? She nods and raises her hand. Flame blazes up and curls inside of her palm. Red and orange light flickers across her face. Oh, that's awesome. Amelia doesn't smile, but I can see a spark of pride flicker behind her eyes. She closes her fist. The flames crackle between her fingers before flickering out with a puff of smoke.
Now, it is your turn.
Okay, how do I do it?
It is quite simple. Imagine the fire surging throughout your body. Imagine it flowing up your arm into your palm. If done correctly, a small flame should appear.
I nod and try to do what she says. I hold out my hand and close my eyes. My brow knits together and I concentrate. A pitch of flames coursing through my veins and out into my hand. A teasing warmth tingles down the tips of my fingers, but nothing happens. I open my eyes, frowning. It isn't working. She crosses her arms.
This is a simple cast. Do not give up so easily.
Yeah, but maybe for me it's not so simple. It took me some time to learn wind magic. She blinks.
Yes, but this is not wind magic. Perhaps we need a different approach.
She pauses and taps her chin.
You mentioned that absorbing each individual elemental energy gave you a different sensation. Perhaps we should focus on the emotional response you felt.
The emotion? She nods. It's worth a try. Closing my eyes, I remember the fire elemental. I remember the courage and strength that rushed through me at her touch. The feeling gathers inside my chest, coiling like a hot band of scarlet. I reach out and latch onto it. A crackling, sparkling warmth bursts down my arm. I open my eyes. Red sparks fizz across my fingertips. A huge grin splits my face. Whoa. Amelia calmly nods.
Try snapping your fingers.
No. Last time someone did that, half the Marvel Universe got killed. I do. A tiny flame hisses and crisps, expanding into one larger one. I'm so excited, I almost start laughing. Sweet. She glances at the small flame and then nods.
Yes. Good. Now, let's try this.
Can we cast Meteor? Wait, what? The tiny flame puffs out. There's more. Amelia blinks.
Of course. You have only succeeded in creating a basic fire spell. As such, there's still more work to be done.
She's a lot stricter than Liana. I hadn't realized how encouraging it was to have a mentor who shared an excitement for my accomplishments until now.
If my hypothesis is correct, you should be able to combine your wind magic along with your fire magic.
Fire tornado! Casting at the same time?
Correct. It is the same as any other cast. Focus on channeling your energy through your hand again. If it is easier, perhaps it would be best to summon the wind magic first and add the fire afterwards.
Amy waits for me to try, but I shake my head. Isn't that what mage casters do?
Yes.
And doesn't it take years of schooling to become a mage caster student? Even more than it takes to become a full-fledged mage knight?
That is also correct.
Okay. What makes you think I'll be able to do it with no training and rudimentary understanding of a single element casting?
Your ability for learning is already expedited when you consider the length of time it took you to learn how to cast at all. Understanding those timelines, it does not seem unlikely that you would be able to quickly acclimate to double element casting.
Okay, I'll give it a try then. Reluctantly, I extend my hands. Instantly, a cool wind pours from my palm. Amelia's pigtails flutter at the soft breeze.
Good. Now add the fire magic.
How?
The same way you would normally cast fire.
Somehow I'm supposed to feel that same strength and fire as well feeling freedom and weightlessness with wind? Searching within, I try to balance those two feelings and combine them in one. A moment later, a familiar tingly sensation murmurs down my arm. Heat sparks across my fingertips. Fire, larger this time, blazes into a turrets around my hand and wrist. I jolt back, expecting it to burn me, but it doesn't. The wind groans and wisps around me in the flames, fanning them larger and larger.
Stop.
I do, and the fire and wind sputter out, and the rest of my strength slips away. My knees buckle and I gasp, falling backwards against a tree. I slump to the ground like a deflated balloon.
Just as I expected.
Amelia blinks when she notices me on the
Are
ground.
you unwell?
I lean my head against the tree. I'll be okay. This was just a lot of energy.
I see.
She pauses, deep in thought.
Such a feat should have taken you significantly longer to learn.
She lifts her gaze back up to my face.
It might be easier for you to channel your energy because you have been absorbing magic directly from the elementals.
Yes, you keep saying that.
Your progress seems to be accelerated because you are using energy stored directly from within you, instead of a secondary source, such as a manipulator.
I nod, trying to take all the information in at once, but my body feels so drained. It's suddenly an effort to keep my eyes open or my limbs up. Amelia glances at me again.
That is enough practice for tonight. Perhaps it would behoove you to get some rest.
I let a yawn. I'm pretty tired, and it is still the middle of the night. Her brow knits together in thought.
Although, if merely casting two simple spells in conjunction exhausts you to this degree, I do fear how including more elements will affect you.
What do you mean?
For you to successfully open a rift, you will have to engage all of the elements you have absorbed. To cast multiple elements at once may prove fatal if you experience such exhaustion from using just two elements in such a basic cast.
My insides freeze. That's a bit of an exaggeration, isn't it? Amy shrugs.
Of course, this is merely speculation based on my observations.
Silence fills my head. It's an odd pounding, fizzing pressure.
Perhaps you will be able to gain the strength to cast all of the elements simultaneously.
What do you mean?
The more you use magic, the more accustomed you become to it. Just like muscles can be strengthened with stamina, your mind can be exercised in such a manner for casting.
How long will that take? She hesitates.
It is no mistake that as you lack the years of training many other casters undertake, you tire much faster than others. At this time, it is difficult for me to estimate that.
She's being kind. My heart sinks. This whole time I've been gathering energy from each of the temples to find a way back home. But now there's a chance I won't even survive long enough to make it back. I fall silent. Amy watches me closely and grows uncomfortable with my disappointment.
As I mentioned before, this is purely speculation.
I nod, barely registering what she says. My head feels numb.
Given you are exhausted, it would benefit you to get some rest.
Amy hesitates again, as if unfazed what to do next.
Good night.
Night. She turns on her heels and walks away to the camp, leaving me alone with my thoughts. I may actually never return home. My friends and family, I may never see them again. My brain vaguely reminds me that I should go to sleep, but my feet are rooted to the ground. There was always the possibility that I may not be able to open a rift and go home, but the hope was always there. It didn't feel like such a real possibility before. Should I even bother trying to cast a rift if the consequences are literally deadly? Maybe I could be happy here in Terra. I think about my travel companions and the adventures we are having together. We've only known each other for a short time, but I trust them completely. Plus, the thought of losing Liana makes me feel empty. My world is so much fuller and brighter when I can see the way her eyes light up when she smiles, or how she plays with her manipulator when she's nervous. I spin around and the voice of Giggling leans against a tree. Thumbnail, just in case if I don't get a CG. I spin around and oh, you're up. He nods.
I heard a noise which woke me up.
I see. That's probably me casting. He peers at me in the dark.
Something on your mind?
No, it's nothing. Neither of us move.
Of course, how can I expect you to be honest with me when I haven't been fully honest with you?
I knew there was something suspicious about him, especially when he was asking all those questions. Tensing up, I watch him warily. Honest about what?
The truth is, I had an ulterior motive for joining your group. While I do still believe you'd all make for a fantastic story, I joined to get to know you specifically.
Why me?
I saw you at the beach.
The blood pounds in my ears. Maybe it's not what I think it is. So, we were all there, just hanging out.
I saw you cast without using a manipulator and save that boy.
My heart hammers in my chest and I ball my fists. He saw me and he sought me out. You must have been mistaken. That's impossible. Giggling holds out his hand as a gesture of peace.
Please don't take that the wrong way. What you did was absolutely amazing, and I just wanted to learn more about you, to understand how you did that. I apologize if I came off too strong earlier.
Are you going to tell anyone?
No. I understand what it's like to be different from the norm, and how it can be both something special and a burden.
Slowly, I relax my fists.
I don't blame you for hiding who you truly are. Sometimes that's the safest thing you can do for yourself and others.
That's why I don't trust you. Sounds like he's talking from experience. I think back to that story he told earlier in the evening. Maybe there was a lot of more truth than he let on. Thank you. He cracks a smile. So,
Tell me where you're actually from now.
I freeze as he laughs at my bewildered look.
I'm just joking with you.
I'll tell you
If
the truth.
want to talk, maybe I could lend a little bit of insight. You don't get to my age without learning a thing or two.
Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. Thanks. He nods and stretches. There's something about Giggling. Maybe it's because of the way he's new to the party and doesn't really know me yet, or maybe it's because I really need someone to talk to. Something makes me want to share. The words tumble out of my mouth. Actually, there's something I'd like to ask you. He nods. So, supposing you had a friend who was from somewhere else, and the only way for him to go back home is so dangerous there's a chance he wouldn't survive the journey. Would you still encourage him to take that option? Giggling rubs his beard thoughtfully.
I would ask this friend what he means by home.
I blink. His friend, his family, his entire life.
Do you think those people would want him to make a life or death decision just to return to them? Or would they feel better knowing he chose the path that would guarantee him a life he could live as he wished?
I never really thought about it like that. But then he'd be stuck in this new world forever. Giggling shakes his head.
Life is a journey. There is no defined destination. And because of that, there are no right or wrong ways to travel along this journey. Perhaps one day, his journey will be safe. Or he may not want to go back. Perhaps another day, the choice will be made for him. Or he can choose between both.
I feel myself relax as he speaks. He's right, I shouldn't give up hope just yet because a challenge has been thrown my way. Thanks, that helps a lot.
Just remember that you have people who care about you, and will support you in whatever you decide.
No, it's not me, it's
Hypothetical friend, yes.
He winks at me, then stretches again.
Well, I think it's about time I tried to get back to sleep.
Same here. It feels to me like Gigglane has experienced a lot more than a typical bard. Maybe he's also had to deal with some tough decisions in life. Either way, he's pretty alright in my book. No, he isn't. We head back to the rest of the party in silence. Only the gentle breathing of my friends can be heard over our footsteps. As I curl back up into my bedroll, I quickly drift off back into a deep sleep. That's unnecessary. You didn't need to play that again. Lots happening in this episode. I'm shaken awake again. A soft groan escapes as I blink into the blinding sun. Liana hovers over me and I groan softly. That's right, she doesn't know about my impromptu midnight training session. I guess I better get ready to spar. Stifling a yawn, I crawl out of bed and join Liana out in the field. We practice our sparring until my muscles are sore and Liana is broken into a sweat. Neither of us manages to knock the other one down this time, leaving us in a draw. When we return to the campsite, Kara and Zack are nowhere to be seen.
Hey, where did Zack and Kara go?
Well, if you see a sock on a doorknob. Amelia looks up and crouched beside the fire pit with a pongo nuzzled between her cheeks and shoulder.
They were not here when I awakened.
Huh, that's weird. Kara usually sleeps in and Zack sticks around to make everyone breakfast. I wonder where they could have gone. Amy sparks a small fire. We hang an iron over the flames as Amelia waves her hand. Cool water rushes from her palm and splashes the inside. She smiles, pleased with herself, and raises the crackling flame to make the water boil faster. Gigglane watches with an interest at Amy's skill. After a while, I see Zack and Kara approaching with us from the distance. As they get closer, I see Kara retying her chestnut hair into a ponytail. There are a few leaves sticking up in Zack's hair, and by the time they reach us, I notice his face is a little more color than usual. Liana watches them with a suspicious look, but she doesn't say anything. Amy is too preoccupied with stirring the porridge to notice.
Good morning, friends.
Someone's chipper. Hey. Kara seems to be in a good mood. I haven't seen her smile this much in a while. Her eyes are brighter like a cat's. She stands on her tiptoes and picks a few leaves out of Zack's messy hair. Is it just me, or does this have a few extra scrapes than usual? I can see the tail end of a scarlet scratch torn across his collarbone. Oof. I remember there was this one time. No, I shouldn't share that story on YouTube. Woo, no, I shouldn't. I can see the tail end of a scarlet scratch torn across his collarbone curling out from underneath the top of his shirt. His coat is a little lopsided too, like he just put it on in a hurry. Kara smiles and brushes some dirt off his broad shoulders.
Hey.
I lift an eyebrow. Where did you guys go? Zack's face starts to flush.
We went hunting.
They were fucking. I raise an eyebrow. So where is it? Zack blinks. He already had his breakfast.
Oh.
The blush brightens in his cheeks.
I, ate it already.
Kara's gaze slides up to Zack's face. The corner of her mouth tugs upward.
You sure did do some eating.
I saw that joke coming. Hey, I mean, boys, gentlemen, if you know how to please a lady. I choke and mask it into a cough. Liana looks confused. Oh, Liana, my sweet summer child.
What did you eat?
Cat. Zack's cheeks seem to have gone up in flames. His face is ruby red. He avoids... I don't know what to call this episode now. His eyes avoid contact and forces out an uncomfortable cough. Amelia finally looks up from the breakfast and stares at the scene. She glances between Zack and Kara, then back at Zack. Her gaze lingers. Zack shifts under her stare, clearly uncomfortable. Amy's eyes seem to be boring into his skin. After a long silence, she tilts her head.
Zack, you appear to be injured.
Kara blinks.
What?
Zack blinks, I mean. She points.
You have a slight abrasion on your neck.
He chokes and shoves the collar of his jacket up to cover his throat, but to no avail. I can see it. I can still see it.
Don't worry about it. The hunt just got a little rough.
Liana glances to where Amelia is pointing. A second later, her face grows pink.
Oh, Kara!
Kara feigns innocence.
What? You know what? I really don't have the faintest idea.
Oh, so they're grown adults. Let them fuck. Her eyes are full of mirth as Liana fidgets.
Never mind. Maybe the rest of us should just eat too.
Her eyes flick to Kara's smirk.
I mean, eat a meal.
Could be a meal.
As opposed to?
As opposed to nothing. That's why I said a meal.
Giggling looks from Kara to Zack to Liana, burning face, and bursts into laughter.
I can tell this is going to be fun.
Zack brushes past and reaches for the plates. Kara is a step behind him. Giggling leaves and returns with a few walnuts and berries. He adds them to our porridge for some extra flavor. I have to admit, it'll be pretty bland without them. The rest of breakfast is passed in uncomfortable silence. Kara casts long glances at Zack, who pretends not to notice. Liana looks at anyone but the two of them, while Amy seems to be oblivious as ever. Only Giggling seems to be thoughtfully enjoying himself. Once breakfast is over, we clean up the camp and continue our way to the water temple. Christ almighty, I love this story. Oh, Kara. The path crunches under our feet. The sky is clear and the sun scatters its fingers like crowns over tops of trees. I can see mountains in the distance, the jagged ridges sprawled out in the horizon like ocean waves. When I start to break out in a slight sweat, we find ourselves surrounded by the mountains. We gaze up at the range of sharp peaks like dragon's teeth. Others disappear into the high clouds. We stop at the hollow of a mountain. The air smells of jasmine and salt. I pause, my eyes falling to a wide cave mouth. Is that the entrance? Giggling beams.
Yes, this is it.
Go have some fun in the cave. We cautiously enter the cavernous entrance. Oh, that's beautiful. I am jealous of how well this is drawn. Blue light flickers across the cave wall as the faint glow radiates. I take another look and see the large staircase leading down to a deep, dark water. Wait a second, are we going underwater? Giggling nods.
Yes, sir. These steps will lead us to an underwater tunnel, which will take us to the temple.
This is fine. I go down a dark underground staircase which will just lead us to water. We'll have to swim through for who knows how long. Sure, why not? This is fine. You know that meme with
Perhaps my water magic could be of assistance.
Giggling looks at her and grins.
We are fortunate to have a mage caster with us who can manipulate water.
He closes his eyes and puts his hand over his chest.
With a mere twist of the wrist, she bends the sea to her will, and to the wave which dare defies her, her ice will freeze it still.
Oh, God. Liana's eyes light
That
up.
was beautiful.
She claps. Giggling smiles, earnest and embarrassed.
Don't you think so? Perhaps I should write it down.
You should. Maybe it can go into your new poem.
Are you guys ready? Liana nods.
Yep. Lead the way.
Shiza. Giggling leads us down the stairs. Barnacles, seaweed, and mussels cling to the dark gray stones. The water ripples at our feet. As I look out, it only becomes deeper. Amy steps forward and her manipulator glowing.
Do the stairs continue to descend?
I'll admit I'm uncertain.
It is of no matter. We shall soon discover the answer. Please, continue.
She waves her arms in the air as Giggling takes a step forward into the water. It moves out of the way of his boot. He grins. His grin broadens as the water flows around him, keeping him wrapped in a dry bubble.
But what do you know? There are more stairs.
Amelia remains in the back with her manipulator glowing. We travel ahead of her and continue down the stairs. As we descend further down, I glance up at the shimmering water which slips easily around us. A small school of fish scurry past, bobbing as they swim around us. Soon the stairs level out. We follow a shallow corridor which opens up to a mouth of a large cavern. Are we getting to play the game now? Several tunnels branch off in different directions around the cavern, but it's too dark inside to see where they may go. Okay. Blue crystals glitter all across the cavern. Some cling to the ceiling like icicles, while others are spread across the walls like frost. Boy. The Pongo pops his head out of the inside of Amelia's pouch. His eyes light up with wonder.
Water crystals.
What? She's pointing to something behind me. Amelia crosses to a few of the crystals that are glowing along the ground. She fidgets with her bracelet. The symbols light up as she scans them.
Fascinating.
What is?
These water crystals are mineable ore. One can use them to create spheres.
If that's the case, then how come no one has ever come here to mine them? Amelia doesn't even turn around to face me, completely absorbed with the crystal.
This place has been lost to knowledge.
She touches one of the crystals. Her bracelet glows to a firelight bright. Ice creaks underneath her touch, and then I hear a sharp snap. A bit of the sapphire cracked off, and her eyes brighten. She holds up the piece, examining it from side to side. I'm confused. We've seen crystals before. They're all over, powering up every single city we've been to. Is there something special about these water crystals? Amelia shakes her head.
Crystals near temples are a rarity. I will use this one to study for further research.
Julio. The Pongo leaps out of her pouch and nibbles on the large crystal. He wobbles, obviously content. Liana, Zack, and Kara wander around to check out the crystals. Their deep blue reflects off the water and sparkles dancing light across the cavern space. It reminds me of a disco ball. The effects are a bit mesmerizing. Giggling turns down one of the tunnels.
The temple should be down here.
I look to where he is going. Something flickers in the depth of one of the tunnels, something silvery and bright. I follow Giggling into the tunnel, where my shoulders bump into a slick surface. Ow! My brow furrows. We're inside the cave, so why is the wall so smooth? I reach up and touch the cool glass. A mirror. I look around. No, a whole room full of mirrors. My breath catches in my throat. Hundreds of reflections blink back at me. Guys, are you seeing this? No response. Guys? I turn around. No one is there. I notice the walls in our previous path are also lined with mirrors. How did I walk through that with no one noticing? Did the others do the same? Could they have gone anywhere? This wasn't just a room. It was a maze. Everywhere I turn, I see myself. I run my hands over the mirrors to keep myself grounded, but with so many reflections, it's having a hard time keeping track of where I'm going. It just feels like I'm going in circles. I let out a small growl of frustration, turning around. Something purple flashes from the corner of my eye, then something white.
Hey, is that you?
Kara! I turn to see her and Liana standing at the edge of one of the paths. Kara grins and waves at me. I grin back, excitement flooding into my chest. Finally, I dash towards them, and slam my face first straight into a mirror. I lurch backward, cupping my nose. Ugh. I hear footsteps behind me.
Are you alright?
A blush crawls into my face. Yeah. My nose throbs with pain, but I didn't hit the wall hard enough to leave any real damage.
It was hard traveling through this maze for me too.
The three of us jump and whirl around. Amelia cocks her head and stares at me. Where did you come from?
I followed your voices and found you all here.
Oh, did you see the others? Her gaze lingers on me.
No.
Liana twists her hands nervously.
I really don't like the look of this place. The mirrors are so creepy.
I don't like mirrors either. Maybe we should find a way out. I just realized we haven't saved in a long time, so I'm going to quickly do that. Maybe we should find a way out.
What about Zack and Gingalain?
We might run into them. Either way, it's better than just standing here admiring ourselves in the mirror.
Sounds like a plan.
We twist in and out of the maze. For a while, it feels like we're making progress, but We go down a long path leading straight to Kara's eyes.
Dead end.
She places her hand on the mirror in front of
This
us.
is going to take forever.
Why not break the mirrors?
Wait,
I look up. Something shimmers inside the mirror. Foggy at first, but then it slowly becomes clear. Letters brighten and form together to create a single word. Us? Kara blinks.
That's it? Just us?
She frowns, resting a hand on her hip.
What does that mean?
I'm not sure.
Something to do with us.
Do you think there are more words hidden out here?
Probably.
I glance at Amy, who wears an intense stare. What do you think, Amy? She shrugs, but otherwise doesn't answer. I guess we move on then. We turn around and try again. The second one takes us longer to find. We keep twisting and turning in circles before Liana ultimately reaches out and accidentally pats against a solid mirror at the end of a corridor. The letters breathe and flare up again. They form a new word. Among us? Liana frowns, her brow crinkles together.
Us and among? What is that?
Oops. What does that mean? They're really stressing something that has to do with us. I'm not sure I like the sound of that.
There are probably some more words out there we need to find to make sense of this.
Amy hangs back again and watches silently. She feels my eyes on her and shifts her gaze onto me. I feel like I stare as challenge, but I don't know why.
Can you make any sense out of this, Amy? You're usually really good with puzzles.
Amelia tears her gaze off me and looks at Kara instead.
I don't know. They just seem like random words to me.
Kara blinks.
Right, but do you think it means anything?
No idea.
This is still a dead end, so let's move on. We turn around again, bumping into even more mirrors. I keep getting turned around. Are we walking in the same halls or going down new corridors? My hands reach out and skim across the silver mirrors as we walk. Amy remains silent and seemingly unconcerned. Her gaze continues to bore into me, making me even more nervous than I already feel. We come to another dead end, which is more letters slowly appear. Illusion. Illusion amongst us. Amy's the fake. It's a message. The words are just jumbled.
Us among illusion?
Among illusion us.
No, it's illusion among us. Liana frowns, suddenly looking nervous.
So something among us isn't real?
Kara raises her eyebrows.
Yeah, but what?
There was nothing else with us, just each other. Not something, someone. Liana flinches.
Maybe, but who would it be?
I think it's Amy.
What makes you think that?
That is what makes me think that. Her brow crinkles in confusion.
Huh?
You weren't talking like one of your science textbooks. Amy doesn't use contractions or shy away from a challenge. Surprise flickers behind her eyes.
I see.
Plus, you keep staring at me, and it's weird. Amy blinks, and a crocodile smile spreads across her face.
Good.
She shivers as she steps backward into a mirror. When I look through, her image dissolves into water and into the milky silver of the glass. When I look again, my own reflection stares back at me. Wow, that was unsettling.
No kidding.
The mirror flashes a blinding white. I cringe and cover my eyes as bright as spots do acrobats in front of my nose. I hear the sound of something shimmering, and when I look up, I see the maze dissolve into starlight. The tunnel returns to a straight path. We travel down it for a short while before seeing familiar faces.
Oh, it's you guys.
I blink, my eyes still refocusing from the sudden light. When my vision clears, I see Zack, Amelia, and Ghislaine heading our way from across the room. Kara rushes over to Zack. Liana lets out a loud breath of relief.
Amy, you're okay.
Amelia blinks.
I assume the illusion among your group must have been me.
Yep. Liana smiles.
Well, in any case, I'm so glad you guys are safe.
Ghislaine returns Liana's smile.
Yes, we are relieved you're all safe too. It's good to be reunited.
As Liana talks, Zack makes sure to look anywhere except at her. Even Kara narrows her eyes.
Zack, you're acting weird. You're not another illusion, are you?
He prickles and shakes his head.
Nope. I am very much me, in the most normal and loyal sense of the word.
Loyal? What did you do?
Nothing. I told you I was loyal.
Giggling looks from Zack to Kara and lets out a hearty laugh.
I had not realized it before, Zack, but you seem to be quite the ladies' man. I will be sure to immortalize all that has happened in this most daring tale of...
No!
Zack's eyes are wide.
I mean, that's really not necessary.
What exactly happened on your side?
Liana, Jingling, Zack, and I had to solve a message.
Wait, but Liana was on our side.
Correct. It was very obvious that the illusion was her.
How so?
No reason.
I look over at Zack, who's avoiding eye contact with both Liana and Kara.
To put it quite bluntly, Liana attempted to seduce Zack.
Liana's face turns crimson red.
What?
Kara turns to Zack.
And you fell for her, hey there, sailor, tactics?
Zack's face matches Liana's in redness.
It wasn't like that at all. She was actually good.
Hey now, Liana can flirt.
Precisely. Her technique was especially effective. That is how we deduced she could not possibly be the real Liana at all.
Liana pouts.
Hey!
Kara whirls around to face Liana.
Why would you do that? I thought we were friends.
The fuck is this General Hospital bullshit now? Liana's eyes wide and she shakes her head.
No. It wasn't me. It was illusion me. I would never hit on Zack.
Kara frowns.
And why not? Is he not good enough for you?
Huh? I mean, he must be okay if the illusion me hit on him.
I knew it.
I don't understand what's happening.
My body prickles. The image of Liana and Zack together coils a hot band of jealousy deep within my gut. Liana, why? She whirls to face me, looking flabbergasted.
You too?
Liana lifts her arms into the air, exasperated.
I was literally with you guys the whole time.
I'm just breaking balls. Kara and I glare at her suspiciously.
Hey, don't worry. She'd never be able to do what she did back there in real life.
Kara and Liana stiffen. They turn to face him, his eyes widening into a glare that could slice through all the crystals in the cave.
Excuse me?
And what exactly did she do back there?
Zack balks. He takes a step back.
I didn't mean anything.
Giggle's spine suddenly clocks.
Do you all hear that?
Kara and Liana freeze. Everyone stops to listen. There's the sound of rushing water. Is that a waterfall? He
I
nods.
think so. If we're nearing water, then perhaps we're close to the temple.
We follow the source of the noise. It becomes louder and louder until the further we travel. Soon we come across a temple ruined deep within the cavern. I walk up the steps and into the temple. The others follow. A sapphire pool sits at the center of the room. Waterfalls rush and flow into the crystal, glitter and sparkle all around. I stare at the pool as it begins to ripple and shift. A dark shadow ascends from the depths. Oh wow. A woman rises like a sea nymph, water sluicing around her down her body. I flinch in surprise. Oh, hi. The woman opens her eyes. A soft smile curves her face. Dark, midnight blue hair flows like wild waves down her lower back. A thin film of water covers her, making her look like otherworldly, embraced by the soft glow of crystals. She must be the water elemental. Her laughter sounds like a stream gurgling over precious pearls. The sounds echo deep within my chest and fills me with a strange calm. As she steps towards me, I take a step back, but trip over a loose stone and fall backwards. Undeterred, she extends her hand and gently cups my face. She leans close to me, and before I know it, a cool splash of pressure is on my lips. Her eyes automatically close as I drink in her energy. She tastes like pure spring water, and I feel a stream of energy flow into me, crisp and fluid. She was the prettiest one of them all. Oh, we still haven't seen the dark one yet, and I always have a thing for the goth girls. All too soon, the feeling ceases, and when I open my eyes, she's gone. Liana hovers over me. I gasp when I see her, and against my will, a blush blossoms in my cheeks. Hi, Liana.
Did you just have an encounter with the elemental?
Yeah.
How did it go?
Business as usual. Oh, you know, pretty well, actually. Just business as usual. She gives me a strange look.
Uh-huh. And why exactly are you on the ground?
Just standard energy transfer procedure. She crosses her arms. That didn't work. No, she definitely knows something's up. Amelia steps up to me and performs a scan with her manipulator. She hovers by my face and brow creased into a frown.
How very curious.
What?
My scan reports an unusually high concentration of energy on your lips.
You treacherous little bitch! Liana blinks before her eyes widen.
You kissed her?
No, it's all a misunderstanding!
Your lips didn't touch together to transfer the energy then?
Well?
They did?
It's not like I had a choice. She was already transferring the energy.
I can't believe you.
Hey, I'm the victim here. Besides, you flirted with Zach.
That was different. It wasn't even me.
Luckily, Kara and Zach return, their packs heavy with items. Giggling returns too, although he remains empty-headed.
What's this about kissing an elemental?
Nothing! I scramble to my feet. I think we've spent enough time in here already. We should get going. Giggling hides his laughter and nods.
Yes, let us be on our way.
That was good humor. Liana and Amy had lead the way out of the temple while Giggling and I follow close behind Zach and Kara, take one last scan of the area. Afterwards, they follow us out and start heading back the way they came. Without the illusion test, the exit is a clear path down the tunnel. The maze has completely disappeared. I guess that Guardian was the one who put the maze in part of their trial. As we travel through the tunnel, I freeze when I hear the faint sound of voices. Catching Liana's eyes, we wordlessly motions for us to stay low. Zach responds with an unpredictable nod. We creep carefully towards the mouth of the tunnel. We hide between towering stalagmites. Kara, Zach, and Giggling are on one side, while Liana, Amy, and I are on the other. The Pongo flattens himself as low as possible to the ground. Peeking around the corner, I see a group of about a dozen people or so bustling back and forth. Clinking of pickaxes echo through the cave as some of the men chip at the rocks. One of the men removes a luminescent crystal from the cave side and carries it over to the receptacle. They're collecting water crystals. Liana and Amy look concerned, while Liana already has her manipulator ready for a scan. When she sees the results, her jaw clenches. She shows Amy, who frowns. I drop my voice to a whisper. What is it?
Void.
I peer out again. In the middle of the cave are a group of cloaked figures. As one shifts, I spot a double manipulator in his arms. A mage caster. It makes sense that they need someone who knows water magic to reach the temple, but that's still some serious power they're packing for a mining operation. It's just a mining operation. Why are there mages?
It would seem the mining efforts of the water crystals here are to supplement the transmutation efforts of Void.
We have to stop them.
Sounds good. Let's have a fight. It doesn't look like they're set up yet. I scanned the area. There are a few scouts on lookout at the main cavern entrance. A couple of mages and a handful of miners. No one seems to have detected our presence yet. Zach motions towards us, catching our attention. He signals that we should flank them and attack. Liana nods. Zach and Kara begin to creep closer to the tunnel opening. Liana...
Keep your magic ready. The rest of the team will focus on the scouts and miners. But we'll want to take out those mages as soon as possible.
Let's do it! Amelia nods and her manipulator glows. As Liana readies herself, we begin to move in. I ready my sword and feel a tingle of magic in my fingers. Once everyone is in position, Amelia lets loose a fireball which lands square in the back of the mage caster. Kara and Zach race out and engage with the nearest miners. Giggling rushes forward towards the entrance to take care of the guards while Liana and I charge the mages. Game time! Click the matching icon. Shield. Swords. Helmet. Shield. Sword. Sword. Daggers. Yeah! I defeat the last Void member as he drops to the ground. Panting hard, I survey the fallen Void members. We adrenaline still high, none of us them stir. Slowly, everyone trickles back together, checking that no Void members are still conscious. Oh, we don't actually kill them? We should kill them.
Everyone okay?
We all nod.
How did Void know where the temple is?
Gee, I wonder.
I wondered the same thing. We got pretty lucky in finding this place.
Only Giggling knew where it was, remember, guys?
They must be growing exponentially in power and amassing more resources than anticipated.
What do we do with those mine crystals?
Let Pongo eat them.
We should take them. They can still be fashioned into crystal spheres, since they haven't been tainted.
I'll help.
Kara and Liana begin to organize the fallen crystals when we hear shouting down in one of the tunnels. What's that?
It sounds like void reinforcements.
Those scouts must have alerted the rest of the troops before we took them out.
Well, we're going to have to cut it here for a cliffhanger. Sorry. But I've been promising a long episode, and I've delivered a long episode for this. If you enjoyed this episode of Crystalline, please leave a like and share around. It helps to grow the channel, and I really appreciate it. Become an Ember of the Phoenix today by subscribing to the channel and follow me on Twitter. The link to that down in the description below and on the front page of my channel. With all that said, this has been Black Phoenix with another episode of Crystalline. Thank you all for watching. See you all in the next one.
Thank you.